right. All right. So next we have our panel. And I'm super excited about this. So I think one of the most important things is that we acknowledge some of the folks who have put things together that bookstores, different organizations that inspire a love for reading, inspire a love for sharing and carrying our stories. And, in the write-up, it said the stewards of our stories. So right now we have Kim Jhonson from Blackstone Bookstore. We have Desmond Robinson, who put together the mental health monologues at Eastern Michigan University, and Kallista Walker over our community read. So we're going to start this panel, and we're going to start with self-introductions. The order is going to go Kip, Desmond, then Kallista, and here we go. And we'll have questions. Each time I ask a question, each panelist has the opportunity to step in and give their answer. So we can start with Kip, self-introduction.
Peace and blessings, love and light to everybody on this panel. Man, I'm honored to be with you, family, today. I told Sister Crystal, I said, you know what? I'm not a speaker. Me and Carlos, we very little words. I guess half of y'all know that, especially Carlos. Little words, but then once we get to talking, we get to talking. But I just want to tell everybody, thank you for having us on this panel. My name is Kip Jhonson, Blackstone, co-owner of Blackstone Bookstore and Culture Center located downtown Ypsilanti, 214 West Michigan Ave. And that's pretty much it. I guess that's the introduction.
Okay. Well, my name is Desmond Robinson. I'm in my final year in my graduate program at Eastern Michigan University. I'm getting a master's degree in higher education student affairs. So excited about that. I work at the Early College Alliance as their graduate assistant, and I'm also their college readiness coach. So I help mentor the students in soft skills and trying to make sure that they have the things that will make them great, successful college students. And I used to work at Upper Bound. I was there for 4 years. And then I got a chance to working with the Wallace too. So I have a lot of history in working with the youth. So I'm so thankful to be here. I'm also a part of the Crystal Fan Club. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everybody. Man, my heart is so full right now. It's just such an honor to just be in this space. Like, I'm trying not to cry because once I start, it's going to be an ugly cry. It's not going to be cute. But my name is Kallista Walker, and I am currently a paraeducator at one of the elementary schools I attended, which is Erickson Elementary. I am also the daughter of Topaz Taharaja. Yodit, you just made me want to say my mother's name listening to you and Cherisa, so I'm going to try not to cry because I miss her. But I am the founder of Our Community Reads, which is one of the programs under the Topaz Project. And we have a YouTube channel. We also have a Queens Club, which is an empowerment and mentoring program for young female scholars ages like 8 to 13. And today we are actually launching Pharaoh's Club, which is a collaboration with Washtenaw Community College. And today is the first day. It's my birthday weekend, so I'm not there, but I'm so excited. This has been something in the works since 2019. And I know my mother would be so very proud. And yeah, so I'll just leave it at that. It's such an honor to be here, Crystal. Thank you so much for reaching out.
Thank y'all so much for being here and happy birthday.
Okay.
All right. So the first question is, basically, when did you start your business group organization? And when did you decide that this needed to be done, that this is a void that needed to be filled and you were there to do it?
Okay. Oh, Kip, you gonna go?
Oh, can you repeat the question one more time? I'm sorry, sis.
No problem. No problem. So when did you start your group or organization, and when did you decide that this needed to be started? Everybody has that moment, like,
Lord have mercy. I mean, I will try to be as quick as possible because this story goes on. Well, I've always been an avid. I love reading. My mother, books all over the house, everywhere. Books just everywhere. So when I was a young man, I used to, just delve into the books, reading Rainbow. Thank God for Yodit and BMR, because they the South Side, they the Ypsilanti, Washington County, new Reading Rainbow. So, but I decided to start Blackstone Bookstore. It came out. Well, I started off with how should I say? Well, I used to work for, well, I still work for a motor company, and I was laid off. And I started off, I was laid off for 2 years, and I started off, vending with books, incense, and oils and shea butters and everywhere down in the city of Detroit and different places in the Ypsilanti. I was first introduced to the bookstore experience and the bookstore story at the Shrine of the Black Madonna in Detroit. And that inspired me so much. It was just the bookstore, it was the experience that I received as a young man going inside that store, and just the spirit that they had. And it was like, I said, man, it would be lovely if we had something like this in Washington County, because I got tired of driving all the way down to, to the city all the time. So I was like, man, we got to get something like this in Ypsilanti. So instead of talking about it, I wanted to be about it. And so that became my dream, and then so through my beautiful queen, Thena Jhonson, my wife, she introduced me to Charlez, which Charlez was also operating a bookstore out of the gas station. And I was also vending. So we became like, I'm married to him, he married to me, put it that way. And I'm trying to make this quick, Kallista, because I'm kind of long-winded, but so I'm just gonna let you know. I started off across the street from the Dairy Queen. It was this building that was vacant. So I went in brick and mortar, started doing everything myself, going in, putting in doors, windows, the floors and everything, trying to get everything together. And then when I called in the fire marshal and have him come in and see if it was a go, and he said, man, this place was already set up for a beauty parlor. And I said, so what you mean? He said, well, you got to draw a blueprint for a store, storefront. So I was like, so what that means? He said, you got to do this all over, draw a blueprint and everything. I already put like tons of money into the store. So man, I ran into a sister. And the sister, I call her pretty much my auntie, Sister Zarina. And she said, well, baby, sometimes you might be working a little bit too hard. You might be going against the grain. So sometimes when you go against the grain, you shouldn't have to work too hard. If you pray about it, God will open up doors, and it should become a little easier than what is happening. So I'm walking down the street down Michigan Ave, and there it was, 214 West Michigan Ave. It was open, ready to go. Went in, I called Charlez, make it real quick. I'm trying to fly through this, make it real quick. Called Charlez, yo, you want to be my business partner? He said, yeah, come on. So then I put all my stuff in there. We had a few books, like maybe 100 books at the time, not knowing where we was going, but we was in the move. So I just wanted to tell you that man plans and God is truly the best of all planners. So regardless on what you think you want, God has another plan for you, and that plan is the best plan. So it was just like, man, we've been there since 2013, November 2nd, 2013. So I just want to give thanks to everybody, that's especially Yodit, Cherisa, Kallista, everybody that's on this panel. Crystal, yourself, you was one of my first. You came in. I remember the earrings I sold to you the very first day when you came in. So I just want to give thanks.
Okay, so I am long-winded too, so I'm going to read what I typed out. So our community reads, which is part of the Topaz Project. It's a heart project created to honor my mother. I used to always tell her she had a cape that attracted kids. My mother was a huge child advocate, like my whole life. We always had a whole bunch of kids at our house. If we went, they went. So our community reads was sort of born during the pandemic. Working at a school, we went virtual. Kayla Dillon, who was a 3rd grade teacher at the time, reached out to me and a couple of other, Ryan Griffin and Daryl Jhonson, and asked us to record a video. And that sort of snowballed. I recorded the video and it just sort of grew. And so when Kip say, if God is in it, like our community reads just took on a life of its own. And so, you know, I have had the honor of recording a lot of people in our community and getting to know so many amazing things about them as humans, not just them in public service, like Sheriff Jerry Clayton, Pastor George Waddles, you know, just so many, you know, Yodit, just so many people I've had a chance and who have said yes to our community reads. And it's videos, and I have everybody do an introduction at the beginning of the video before they read picture books. I'm obsessed with picture books. And I'm very determined to plant seeds of possibilities in our young people. That is one of the reasons why I love Charlez's story so much, because working at the elementary school, seeing these young scholars, it lets you know how important hope is. It lets you know how important how we carry ourselves in this world is, because they watch you. I don't care how angry they act. I don't care how tough they act. Young people look at us, and it's going to take each and every one of us to show up at the table to guide them, to love them, even when they seem unlovable. Because some days, I'm telling you, some of them kids, you were like, ugh, but they probably the ones who need it the most. But out of our community reads, the YouTube channel was birthed, the Queens Club. It was a collaboration with Talia Edgar, who now does my amazing flyers. And she has a program called Stepping into Sisterhood. And she just graduated from EMU. And I met her through Back Office Studio, and we did a thing together. And I thought it was just going to be one and done. And my current VP, Shanice Jhonson, was like, Kallista, you're going to have to keep doing this. I was like, no, I'm not. Do you know how much else I already got on my plate? And she was like, no, you're going to need to keep doing this. And sure enough, mothers started coming up to me. Is y'all meeting next Sunday? I was like, no. But we are probably about 6 or 7. I'm not going to do it Sundays in. So we have kept meeting. We took them to see the Hip Hop Nutcracker back in December. Bilal Saeed with AFC Soccer was generous enough to donate tickets for the girls to go. And then MJ, who is somebody who volunteers a lot with us, she actually got a limo party bus for the girls to go down there safely and come back. And when I say God has opened doors that I could not have even imagined, you know, yeah, so, and now today, Pharaoh's Club is launching, and I'm nervous. My heart has been racing. I ain't been able to sleep because I'm not going to be there. But, you know, people reaching out because they want their sons to see Black men, you know, because a lot of times our young Black men, they don't have fathers that they can respect. I'm just saying, that's just the honest to God truth. It might not be politically correct, but it's the truth. And so I'm grateful for Anthony Williamson and all his tireless work that he does. And, I just want to keep going. I just want to keep going. Yeah.
So yeah, okay. Look, you done got her started. No, both her and Kip. Okay, I'm gonna read it from my paper. You know, I came from the heart, baby. That's okay. So Active Minds is a group that we do the mental health monologues through, and Active Minds is a national organization, and it has campus chapters, and I was a part of the Eastern Michigan one. And I became president of it because previous presidents were graduating, and I had to basically take the organization and turn it into something different, because we were losing members. We had 2 members there, and now we have over 20 members that come consistently. We won most outstanding student organization. And the mental health monologues were one of those things that came out of it, because we were like, how do we have a consistent method of promoting mental health, like a positive mental health conversation, honest mental health conversation on a consistent basis. And that's how the mental health monologues came to happen. During my presidency, I was able to do 2 of them. I think we're on our 5th one this year. It's going to be virtual. And I do want to say that I'm so proud that our current president is a Black woman. And I'm so proud of her, and she's one of my mentees. So that makes me feel so proud. And that's how the mental health monologues came to happen. And that's why it's important to try to have people of color to express their mental health journey, and everyone to express their mental health journey too. So I'm thankful for that.
Thank you all for sharing all this good information. Like I said, make sure y'all support folks so they can continue to do this good work. So our next question, since today is about collaborations, I want to hear about any collaborations that you guys did to kind of make these projects come into fruition.
Well, the collaboration, man, I start off with Black Men Read. Man, since COVID, man, I just went, man, Sister Yodit, man, when you talked about the pause, sometimes we need a pause in a melody, and a beat. And sometimes when you get melodies, there's not a great melody unless you have a pause because of the timing. How COVID came, it was the timing. And I think, with Black Men Read becoming us becoming like I call them my sisters. Since we became co-partners with them, they pulled us through at a time where it was like rough. It was rough. And I think during the time, what COVID hit, it hit the States in January. And then I think we went on shutdown, I think around March 2020, something like that, around that time. Well, we started the Blackstone website. And then from there, we became like real, Sister Tamara, everybody in the Black Men Read, everybody, we sat down, we talked about what we was going to do. And we were blessed to, with them, we were blessed to donate over, over hundreds of bags and boxes of books.
2,000.
2,000 books to the community. So it's like, like I said, when I said man plan and God plans and God is the best of all planners, he's also great in timing. It's like, his time is the best time. And so it's like that time I couldn't tell you more, of, how, collaborating with BMR as well as Kallista, Sister Kallista, and what you doing. Happy birthday. Kudos to what you're doing. Big ups. May God completely bless you in everything that you're doing for this community. And, me and Los is going to be personally glad to work with you. And anytime when you need us, anytime when I'm in town, I'm back and forth from Ohio all the time. I'm on that road. So it's like anytime when I'm home, just let us know what you need. So yeah, we I just want to say big ups to these two sisters that's right here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kip. I enjoyed just our conversation. So I already know working with Athena, and when we was down there, so I already know. I'm looking forward to it. But our community reads has not had a shortage of collaborations by any means. Books for Kids is definitely one of the biggest companies. I met Lisa and Ernesto. Ernesto is a professor at Washtenaw Community College, and they are from Ann Arbor, and they love giving away books, beautiful books. And I met them at the Black Lives Matter mural installation. Trisha Duckworth, Survivor Speak, she invited me down there to do my first public story time. I had my afro. That's usually how I read. I usually have my big afro. That's what everybody know me by. And I got down there. I actually met Dr. Shelley Holt and her husband, Art, that day. And I met Lisa, and an amazing friendship was born. And we have done a lot of events where her and her husband will come set up a table and give away books. We've had, New Park Ridge. We've done a couple of community centers over in Ann Arbor with Sky Woodman. We've done, quite a few different apartment complexes in Ypsi. And then, of course, I've collaborated with Cherisa. And Do You See What I See? She did a vision board party for our queens, and they absolutely loved it. And she gave them all a Loving Me t-shirt. and they just thought they was too cute. And Liberty Financial Services, which is owned by Ebony Byrne, and she did a financial workshop because the ladies learn about financial literacy. And Dancing with Elegance, Sherry Hawkins is a huge supporter. She has come out many times and danced with our young ladies. I'm trying to get them to learn ballroom. They don't know that yet, but that's one of my goals. Yeah. And now, you know, with Washtenaw Community College, you know, at Park Ridge Community Center for the Pharaohs. So without all of that, and it was all just lined up. Like, it was nothing that I had to struggle to make happen. That's how I know that God was in the midst and he was ordering my steps every single step of the way. So when you say there's no plan like God's plan, I'm a witness.
Absolutely.
Ooh, thank y'all again. I think that what stood out is how interconnected everyone is, how everyone kind of reached out and helped each other and can support each other. So I'm so glad that was pointed out. And I guess our next question is, with all the collaboration, with everything that keeps moving forward, you know, sometimes there are challenges, there are hiccups, there are, you know, things we have to overcome. So what were some of the key challenges in developing, and how did you overcome these challenges?
Yes, that's a very important question, because the second month of my logs, we didn't have a lot of people audition to be in the show. And I'm so thankful that at Eastern, you know, we have e-boards on our student organizations, because at the time, because I was still developing as a leader, I thought that, okay, I was president, so I got to make this final decision. But my e-board, they were very like, Desmond, we do not need 17 people in the midst of monologues. Like, if the show had to be shorter, then it has to be shorter. And the thing is like, we have a vision for our events, our programs, and sometimes they don't go the way that we want them to go. And it's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to feel like, oh man, I shouldn't do it at all because it's not going to go the way I want it to go. But there is another possibility of how it can go, and it can be marvelous. Like she was saying, God's plan, right? Like, there could be a way different plan, doesn't have to go the way you want it to go. So I think a big thing is about stepping outside of your expectations sometimes. As long as your heart is being communicated, as long as the purpose and the impact is being made, how it's done, it's not something that you have to hold on too tightly. Sometimes you gotta let loose. Right. Just let it happen. So yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. I think one of the biggest challenges is us, like my good brother just stated, sometimes you just can't go in the same direction as you want to go all the time. You have to adjust to, in business terms, you have to adjust to the market and what's on the demand. And then sometimes you have to be like, okay, I remember when we got started in 2013, our customer base was like, booming. And then once it's like in a relationship, it's booming everything at the beginning. And then you got to find new ways to keep it interesting and keep it effective, as well as not just with the community, but with ourselves, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you have to find out ways to adjust. And then, like the brother said, sometimes, man, you want to continue to push forward and do what you want to do, but sometimes that just is not the case. And so we had to open up to a whole new market. We had to adjust. I think Yodit and Sister Krista and everybody else who came through Blackstones came to us at a time where, like I said, pre-COVID, at a time where you can count how many books that was on the shelf. And it was like, I think when our brother George Floyd Jr., when he was, I'm gonna say he was a martyr. I'm gonna be honest with you, because if I'm wrong for saying this, I'm saying he was a martyr. That brother was lynched on the street. And I think when the world saw this on TV, they said, wait a minute. Even the far left was like, That's just not right. So we had an influx of people calling the store, asking us, what can we do to try to help? What can we do, for you guys to try to, how can we support the community? So I think, with George Floyd situation, what happened with our brother, it's like, we had orders coming from all over the world. So I think, man, me and Carlos, like I said, we like hands-on and in everything, word of mouth, Facebook, Instagram. We didn't have a website. We started the website January of 2020. And thank God, because it's through the website where when people was all sitting at home, and everything was on lockdown, it's like people was calling in. They was like, yo, we at home. So we sitting at home. So let's go ahead and see if we, we're going to use this website. So we were shipping books all across the globe, and the main thing I think, man, was that situation that happened with our brother George Floyd. The world consciously wanted to know what was really going on, man. And it was like I said, we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. Like Tevin Campbell said, we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. But, I think a wise man said, man, don't mind the storm. You have to always set your sail. You have to set your sail so that when the wind and the storm gets to blowing, you were like, yo, at least you got a sail so you can, direct where you need to go. So, and I think, man, the website and building partnerships with different people, man, different groups in the neighborhood, actually, man, it pushed us through. It pushed us through. So I give thanks.
And I think for me, I think the challenge for me, because I fell in love with the books and it was, it sort of flowed, recording videos and all of that. But when I decided to become a 501c3, that's when stuff got real. Because now all of a sudden I was creating a business and I've never been in a management position before, right? I worked in a call center for 25 years. I never wanted to be in leadership. So I think learning, and I learned so much from Cherisa. She will never know how much I watched her being a part of Women and Men Working for Change and just seeing how she would navigate different personalities, just different people in the community when things didn't fall through, how she would pivot. And, our conversations when she would be upset and be like, okay, let me find one person I can sound this off of so I don't go here and let those emotions show. And so all those seeds, which again reminds me of the importance of planting seeds, right? And so just creating that business model and learning the legal sides of this. And so many people showed up to guide me. I have a friend who was like, Kallista, I'm going to help you and we're going to put through your LLC. And, Trisha came through. Okay, I need you to go ahead and make this a 501c3. I want to step in and help you. And different people, when I had questions, because I get overwhelmed very easily and I'll just easily be like, okay, that's it. Evidently God is blocking it. I'm not supposed to do it. And that's not it, but it's all about all of us doing it together. He never created us to be an island. Right. He never ever, I don't think that's what God intended. We were never created to do the hard things by ourselves. There may be parts of your journey where you're walking by yourself, but I think a lot of time God is sending support. We may not always see it. We may not always want to grab for it because our pride say, I'm not going to ask them for help because they did this. But I believe that when we do it collectively, it can help so much. And then I had to also learn that there will be a lot of people that will want to speak into your vision, but I had to remember God gave me the vision. God gave me the dream. And even though there were people who would say, Kallista, you should do it this way, you should do it that way, you shouldn't go that route, you shouldn't go down that road. I had to listen to them with an open heart, but I had to choose what was best for our community reason and the Topaz Project. At the end of the day, because God trusted me with it. And that's where my blessings are going to come from when I make sure that I'm doing what he's called me to do, not what other people pour into me and say I should do. And that was hard for me because for a long time I was a people pleaser. So that was a very difficult decision to make, but I think that's very crucial. And you have to know your why. I think you really, really have to sit down before you start doing a thing. Why are you doing it? Because stuff is going to come up. And if you don't know what your why is, it may be very easy to stop, get discouraged, and quit. Your why will keep you going. Your why will definitely keep you going.
And thank y'all. I'm glad this is being recorded because this is so much knowledge, so much inspiration, and I really appreciate y'all. I definitely remember stopping into the bookstore the day of the protest for George Floyd. So, yeah, I'm not gonna talk too much. I said I wasn't gonna do that, so I'm not. So, like, so one of the last couple of questions I think are really important because we want to look at longevity. You know, we want to make a long-term impact. So where are your best hopes and where you kind of see this work within the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah. One thing that we wanted to do when I was president is that we wanted to have 2 mental health monologues a year. We wanted to have our general mental health monologue in April. And in the fall, we wanted to have a smaller mental health monologues, but it was going to be specific to a certain demographic. So it would be the mental health monologues of the Black community, the mental health monologues of the LGBTQ plus community, the mental health monologues for the community who have disabilities. Because I think it's so important that we are specific about these tales of mental health, because we don't experience it in the same way. And we also don't have all the same things that are influencing or impacting our mental health on a day-to-day basis. Like, for instance, I don't think that every race can relate to turning on the TV and seeing that someone who looks just like you has been killed by a cop. That happens to us all the time. I'm just scrolling down Instagram and I see that. A person who has a disability, right? Like, they can't get out and just shovel their snow. How does that make them feel? How does that make them feel about themselves? You know? So I think that their perspective on mental health and their lived experience should be highlighted and spotlighted. So I want to see how we can wove more minoritized communities into the mental health monologues. That's my vision for it.
Kallista, you want to go?
You gonna pass the mic to me right now?
It don't matter.
I'll go.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so I'm gonna try, when I was thinking about this question, I'm gonna try not to jumble my words, so I hope it comes out how I feel it. One of my biggest goals is to help our families understand the importance of reading to your children from the womb to the age of 5. Beyond is absolutely, but working at the school and seeing how many of our children begin school, like in kindergarten, way behind. And a large portion of it is because they've not been read to on a regular basis. So their vocabulary is like in a negative deficit. You know what I mean? So they're starting out with kids who had 2,000 books. People were getting them books. They were being read to grandma, and that was their norm. In our households, a lot of times I've been at events and went to give somebody a book, and I cannot tell you how many times I've had people say, oh, well, my daughter's only 2. She's not reading yet. I don't need her to read. I need you to sit down and put a picture book in front of her and you read to her. But we don't understand, because of our trauma with school, we might not have had the best experience with school. We don't understand. So therefore, how can the value that we hold for reading, I just want to bring that up. Like, I don't know how, but that is my mission, is to really help parents and grandparents and guardians of brown people understand that your child's academic success is truly related to us in years down the road holding up Free Johnny signs. And I don't think people understand that a lot of times when you know that you can go into a classroom and understand science, understand geography, that you can communicate things when you feel in all these big emotions as a child, but you can effectively talk about it with your words. It helps you not lash out. Like Charlez was saying, it helps you not lash out. And trying to get parents to understand that when their value system is not that, that is my challenge. But I'm so determined to build that, elementary school to beyond high school success pipeline. I want to help create, educate youth. That's part of the work that they do. Helping kids in middle school and high school build a success highline, and 2 years after high school, mentor to youth is helping. I just want to be part of that and help kids. And I have 2 sons. I have a 24-year-old who will be 25 soon, and a 20-year-old who will be 21. And they are my biggest inspiration. So often they tell me different things that they went through when they were young and how they felt, especially my oldest son, and what he wished he had had. And I was a very active mother. But even still, he's like, I wish I had knew how to get into college. They told me to go to college, but they didn't tell me how to get there. So I go hard for young people because I want to give them what I feel like so many times parents that's well-meaning, we don't set our kids up for success. And then we wonder why so often down the road, they get derailed. And I'm not saying every single time, but so often, had they been given different tools in their toolbox early and consistently, their outcome in their middle school and high school years and beyond may have looked very different.
Oh, man. I think, man, Blackstones, we're just trying to keep the focus as far as like opening up and expanding of what we do. We want to continue to try to give the community the experience of what the brother was talking about, of mental health, Sister Kallista, Black Men Read. We want to be able to try to expand. I'm be honest with you, be straightforward, a 900 square foot, during the time of COVID, things has changed. So we don't have that much space to at the moment to really do what we really want to do. We want to expand and have, look, bookstores is a place to discuss and sit down face to face, just have discussions. I remember when we had BMR, at Blackstones, we had all the babies all sitting down together, all on the floor, and we were sitting there and we had brothers and different people would come through and do the readings. We had Kwanzaa there. We had all types of things. I mean, it's a small building, but we're just trying to expand. So what we're trying to do is just trying to, look, we went into business, not to make money. Don't get it twisted. Making money is cool. Everybody want to make money. But we went into the store for the love and to give the people that experience, to give people an outlet where they could come and to be able to have these discussions about romance, discussions about what's going on in the community, discussions about politics, discussion about, just everything, so it's our goal as business owners is try to probably find another brick and mortar, probably to move forward so we can have entertainment, be real with you. I got entertainment, and I got a woman, my son, everybody entertainment is in my house, but myself, I don't entertain, but but I'm their biggest cheerleader, so, but we're trying to create an outlet, for entertainers to come through so we can have more readings, so we can have more discussions. I mean, this, one thing that we like this people say this might be the new norm, but there's nothing like, man, face to face and real contact and having conversations face to face. That's me. Carlos will tell you I'm terrible with my phone. I'll be like, yo, I'm terrible. I'm face to face. I'm gonna write up in your grill in your mug trying to like, yo, how you doing? So it's like, that's how I think our plan as far as going forward is probably find another brick and mortar and trying to do more and expand it for our community so they can come in and we can just sit down, man, and just rock and have a great time, and just not just to have a great time, but also, discuss situations like with my brother, man, the football coach, man, and my brother that's talking about mental health and everybody, man, we need this. I miss it. I remember watching a story with Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes said, you know, I want to be able to be able to have that experience with one another again. So he took off his mask. I'm just saying, I know everybody got we things about the mask, but it's nothing like that feeling and that experience. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing like, man, yo, to come together, man, and you just can't feel it. I mean, you know, we just can't feel each other like how we can feel each other. I mean, I can reach y'all, man. We can talk to each other, man, on this web. But it ain't nothing I can look at you in your eye to eye and face to face and saying like, yo, how you doing? Ain't nothing like, man, and hugging, man, and hearing great music live, not on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Or on this, we need something, man. And we trying to create that experience for our community. Ypsilanti, Ann Arbor, man, we got this. And we gonna do this, God willing.
All right. Man, so our last question, last one. What advice would you give to someone who wants to start something similar, who wants to go into this work? How would you help motivate that person, that group, the community to developing something?
Well, I think we're always open. You know, me, Carlos, man, we always open, man. Our doors is always open for you to come. I think the first thing for you to do is just how Sister Kallista said, find out your why. Understand your why. And then your why becomes bond and your word. I mean, we started the whole conversation with storytelling. You will become the essence of your own story. Everybody have a story. Lord knows we got a story going through COVID. Everybody got a story. Find out your why. And your why becomes your goal. Your why becomes your reason. Your why becomes your purpose. You find that out, and that becomes your rites of passage. That's your thing. And regardless what anybody say, don't let nobody deter you on what you want to do. Do it. I mean, we had somebody, man, come. I mean, me and Carlos always had people come, oh, y'all trying to start a bookstore during this time? Y'all must be crazy, man. Books are going out of style. Nah, people are going out of style. Books ain't never going out of style. I still listen to the same old records. I still spin records. Records is coming back. Books is never going out of style. I mean, I do encourage people, man, to sit back and study themselves, study each other. We need to study and read each other, you know. But I will encourage people to find out their why, their purpose, and go hard and study the market they want to get into. Because sometimes that market, man, that market is, yo, you willing, are you committed to that market?
Yes.
Sometimes that might not be for you. You know, sometimes it might be something else, you know, until you get into it, you don't understand it until you get in it, man. Like I said, my dad said it takes person to when it's in the coolness of it's good to be in the coolness of the evening, but when it gets in the heat of the day, it's something else, it's something different. So when it gets thick, then your why is challenged, your reason is challenged, but you can't give up. You got to continue to press forward. You got to keep on moving forward to what you want to do, and that why becomes your purpose, and that purpose becomes you. They have a thing that's a saying that say your word is your bond and your bond is your life. Well, your bond will be your bond, and your word is like, that's your life. Your business is your life. Cherisa, Yodit, Sheriff Jerry Clayton, Cherisa, Mary, all of y'all, man, y'all why is y'all way of life.
Look, let me get in here because kid want to eat it all. He's so inspired.
You know what I'm saying? But that's all I have to say. That's pretty much it.
Oh, I love you so much. I love you so much. I love your heart. Yeah, you know, I think that if someone wants to get involved in doing a mental health monologue or trying to do a mental health initiative, right? I want them to know that they're not the only one who cares about the situation. I want them to try to know that there are people around them who care. A lot of them just need a platform or an organized medium. So if they can provide that space for somebody, provide the opportunity or even opportunity to think it together, to create it together, a lot more people will be invested. So never think that you are the only one that cares about something. lots of people care. They just need leadership, they need guidance, they need consistency, they need clear instruction, and they need a personal investment. If you're going to be a leader, don't try to do everything by yourself. Let go a little bit and let people have their own touch on it too, and let them help mold it with you. So that way it doesn't always feel like it's on you. Because my biggest fear is that if someone graduates, then active minds has to die again. And I don't want that. It won't happen if everybody in an organization is empowered by the mission. Somebody gonna step up, be president. Somebody gonna step up, be vice president, because we all have an investment and we all have a role. So that's what I would suggest.
So you gentlemen just set me up so nicely. Thank you so much. So on top of what Desmond and Kip said, I would say make sure that you are organized, because you can have all these passionate thoughts and want to do so much good, but it can be very scattered and it can end up not being impactful if you are not organized. And so what I would say to that is, if you know that organization is not your strong suit, I would strongly encourage you to find someone who is fluent in it. Because I promise you on everything, when it comes to keeping on track, because once the ball gets rolling, ideas will start flowing, because like a person in motion stays in motion. When you're in motion, ideas just keep coming. God just keep downloading stuff. And you'll be like, oh, squirrel, I want to do this. I want to do that. You have to stay focused so that everything that you do is impactful. You don't want to do it just to have your name out there. You want it to be impactful. You want to know who it is that you're trying to impact, and being organized really does help that. And again, if that is not part of your superpower, it's okay, but I'm gonna need you to take time to find somebody who is fluent in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's real talk.
Man, listen, I just want to say I appreciate y'all so much. I'm taking everything in, just like everybody else is. And those of us who are inspiring to be leaders, a lot of this information that y'all sharing can really help us move forward and transform the work that we're doing moving forward. So we're gonna have a quick Q&A. We're gonna have Chris do the Q&A. We're gonna have Chris do the Q&A. And then we're gonna have it closed out by all right. Thank y'all so much again. I am disappearing.
Sorry about that. Needed to turn on my mic. All right. If you have a question, please raise your hand and I will call on you. JD, you have your hand up. Would you like to speak? And I'll allow you to talk. JD, you are on. You'll have to unmute yourself, sir.
I don't think I had my hand up.
Oh, okay. It's showing your hand up, but that's fine. I can put it down. Okay.
Let's see. How you doing, Chris?
Doing well, thanks. All right. Charlez, you are already on, so go ahead and ask your question.
I guess it was more of a statement than a question. When we were talking about the youth and the reading and all that things, and just trying to get that better and get that more, get them to read more, get them to come together more. I think with kids, I've learned over the years that I know it's a touchy thing, but to let them know that you love them and you're there for them and you got their best interest is the biggest thing to get them to communicate back with you and open up to you. And I mean, it's one of those things you can say it, but you have to really show them. When you show the children that you have love for them and that you're there for them, they open up to you like a book. They really do. And I think that's what I mean, growing up and as a young Black man, that was one of those things where telling another man that you love them, it was one of those things that you just didn't do. It made you seem soft. It made you seem like that wasn't it. But I make sure that all the kids that I coach 2 different teams. Like I said, I see a lot of kids in a day, and I try to let all of them know that I love them. I'm there for them. You can talk to me. And I think that's the best way to get them, to let them know that they can come to you as an adult, as somebody that they see as in the leadership role, that they can come to you and talk to you. And I always try to, and it's so crazy. I just was calling on my football kids just to check on them. And every last one of them had a different problem. Every last one of them had something going on that they needed somebody to talk to. So I think it's very important that you always let them know and let the kids know that you are there for them and they can talk to you. Because I was just calling, thinking I'll have a quick conversation, and I'm on the phone 5-6 hours with 10 different kids, and every last one of them had a problem, and I wanted to solve all of them. And I was trying to solve or get them in a direction to solve them, but everybody has problems. Everybody's going through something. So always ask and always show them that you love them. And Kip, I want to catch up with you. I've been in your store a couple of times. I want to catch you because I think I don't hear nothing but good things about you. I actually wanted to meet you in person. I come to try to meet you. I'm gonna stay on. I'm gonna catch you one day down there when our schedules meet. But I left my phone number there, and I just think this is great. And I think that everybody here has a different way to communicate and different way to connect with the youth. And I think we just got to keep doing it. I love the music. I love through the books. I love through programming for the women. I think this is what we need because this is what scare people. This is what scare others that's outside of us doing this. I think it's scary to them, but we need it for our youth. Like Kallista said, man, that was so crazy. He said, read when they're young. That was such I really stuck in my mind because I didn't have that. My mom would read the Bible to me, and that's why I know the Bible. I know my faith is strong, and I know, but I didn't read other books. We read the Bible, and that were big words that I couldn't understand. So she would read it to me, but I wish I would have read more, even with my daughter. You're gonna make me read more with the younger ones. I'm gonna go down and want to read more with them just to get that bond and get them to read and tell them my story. I used to be scared to tell the story and say that I struggle with reading and writing, but now it's different. And I think that's the thing. Like you have to tell the kids your story, let them know that you're human, and let them know that you have love too, that you love them unconditionally, and they kind of relate more to you. They kind of open up more to you. So I'm done talking. I just wanted to make sure I said to all the good things I'm hearing. That's one of the things I wanted to make sure I said, that I think the love is showing them that you're there is one of the best things that you can do. They open up to you really easy.
Nice. I agree with that. I have a question for Rod. Would you say the same thing about musical instruments and art, music like that, modeling it as an adult around kids is a pathway to kids exploring their themselves through music and other forms, and maybe the poets out there as well. Yodit. I know personally, I grew up around musicians. My grandfather was a musician, my mother was a musician, and so I became a musician, and my kids are musicians. I'm not hearing you, Rod. You're not muted, but it's not coming through.
Sorry about that. Can you
There
hear
you
me
go. There, can hear you now. Yeah.
So I think that teaching youth that there is freedom through your creativity. There is the freedom to explore the world through not only knowledge and the things that we could gain from reading and things of that nature, but I think that using our creativity gives us the ability to interpret it. It gives us the ability to make sense of it and to change it in a way, at least in our minds, or change our perceptions of it. I think that one thing that doesn't get enough credit when it comes to teaching about music and talking about the iterative process about music is that it takes discipline, it takes time. I'm having a conversation with Rick and the rest of the team over here at Grove a few minutes ago. We were talking about learning instruments when you were younger and how it takes so much time, but you have to start somewhere. And I think just like, with Mr. Hall teaching football, you got to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere in business. You have to start somewhere learning biology. You have to start. And I think that those paradigms kind of carry over. And for me, if young people gravitate towards music, I want to use music to not only give you that freedom, but also to give you the understanding that things are a process. Things do take time. So I think that we've been able to see some breakthroughs with some young men that principally, systematically have been left behind. And they do say, okay, I can do algebra. I can do, I can learn how to proofread my own writing, just because they've seen how that process works through creating music.
And the self-discipline of learning a sport, to write, to do music, I feel like that translates to other parts of your life sometimes when you learn that.
It absolutely does. And I think one other thing is one thing that I've been reminded of, especially during the pandemic, is that even though you have all these different things going on in your life, you have to make time to be creative doing something. Many times we view being creative as like a gift or it's like a prize, when it actually is part of the process,
right? Because
it grants you balance. And that's why I'm a big advocate for making sure that arts exist within our schools, not only exist, but they thrive in our schools, because it has to be a part of the process, because it's a workout, it's a different workout for the brain than a lot of the things that we do. So I would just stress to everybody out there, find something to be creative in. You may be busy, you may think that you're overwhelmed and things of that nature, but find something to be creative in, because it can give you a much bigger gift than you think.
That's beautiful. I love that. Janet, go ahead and ask your question.
Love that last answer. Yeah, I'm a musician too, and it's so true. Gosh, all of these, especially the reading initiatives, you all make me just want to come out and jump in and be part of everything. And I was just wondering if people have thoughts about the best way that us as party activists, we've chosen to put our time and energy into trying to get the political organization and make sure that we have backup for what the community needs through our elected officials. But I'm wondering how, in terms of all these wonderful initiatives, how can we be part of that as an organization? And one idea that I had was listening to Kip about community discussions. That's something we've been talking about a lot, that we need to be able to have venues where we can really hash out, for example, these days, what the heck does it mean to be a Democrat? What's it mean, to try to act in this world the way it is? And if there's a way for it to happen with COVID and with space, it would really be wonderful to organize something like that with you. But what about other people? What else could we do as a local Democratic Party?
I'm so happy you asked that question. Consistency is everything, I find that a lot of people believe that we never hear from our politicians until it's election time, or we don't hear from the parties until it's election time. And I think when you're doing something year long, then you are a recognizable face. And also, I'm pretty sure that the party's values and missions are in line with the things that myself, Kip, and Kallista, and Cherisa, and all of us are doing, So you have a personal connection to it, but I think it's following up with it and going through with it. And that might mean public, posting a flyer to our event. It might mean attending. It might mean donating. It might mean calling us in to talk about community issues and doing it on a consistent basis. So that way we know that you care. We know that you're here. We know that you're present. And that we have a connection, because connections are everything. If I hear someone, because for instance, Carter from Debbie Dingle, she comes to our annual mental health walk at Eastern every year that we've had it. Unfortunately, COVID happened, but that's because she cares about mental health and she has her own personal investment in it. And that's Debbie Dingle showing up. It's not Debbie Dingle, the dam, showing up. It's Debbie Dingle, who happens to be a dam that's showing up, that has a mental health experience and journey. And I think people can really, really respect the authenticity. So I think that consistency is everything.
Yeah.
How about the rest of you? Any other thoughts on that topic? I think it's an interesting and something that we're keenly interested to hear from.
I'll say this, I'm going to just piggyback off of Desmond. I am also the president and founder of Women and Men Working for Change, and we are based here in Ypsilanti, and we do most of our work here on the eastern side of town. And right now I'm reimagining and revamping Women and Men Working for Change so that we can be spread out and pour back into our community throughout the region. But one of the things I do, we have two major events every year. Our 5K walk, which is our 5K domestic violence walk and run, and that is our fundraiser. And then we have our Christmas dinner in the community, and everybody can get involved, but it's unfortunate that that is when I see the Democratic parties and our elected officials and our politicians. I can tell you when the election cycle is coming up, during our 5K walk, we are going to have many people, many politicians with many tables. And then the next year, I'm not going to see them or hear from them. And that is sad. I think it really does take all of us to get involved. Many people are doing things just passed down in tradition. Some of us are just Democrats because our grandma, mama, whoever was a Democrat and really don't know about any other. And I'm not pushing anything. I'm just saying education is the key. Us coming together is the key. We are all humans. On here, all of us want. Well, let me say the ones I work with on a regular basis, we want the best for our community. I am a staunch supporter of women. We talk about kids, and anybody know me, know I'm going to get my bit in about women. We have children, you're talking about children, but we have adults raising children who are not safe within themselves. They don't trust themselves. They don't know about themselves. They are going through mental health. They have been violated. They have been shut down. Their voices have been quiet. And so while we talk about our kids, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pushing for our women, and nothing against men. I just work better with women. I'm sorry. I love our men. I love our Black men, but I work better with women. We have to make it a space for all of us. I am a social worker. I forgot to say that. I'm a social worker, 30 years in the business. Mental health matters. It is a big deal. And we have adults raising children who don't have the capacity to sit down and read, to get connected to the community, to know what a Dem or a Republican is, to know the importance of voting, to support our community, our downtown district. They don't have that capacity. So I'm with you guys with our children, but there's so many adults out here, and I am the staunch supporter. I disturb peace. I disrupt complacency. I am a staunch supporter of our women who they lost their voice. And they don't know about any of this because somebody did not let them speak. Somebody shut them down. Somebody told them they were not enough. Somebody put them in the closet and closed the door. And so before we can do all of this, I'm with it. I want the Dems. I want the Democratic Party to get in the trenches and do stuff. I don't want to just sign a paper and come and meet with you guys. I want you to be in the trenches at all times with everything, with mental health, with our children, with housing, with those who have experienced domestic violence, those who don't have a full education. I want you to be in the trenches and not just in election year and 2 days after.
Let me jump on that for a quick moment. Chris, and thank you for Janet, thank you for the invitation. A couple of things that came up for me as we were sharing today. Even at the onset when Sheriff Clayton was speaking, I think what the question Janet asked of what does it mean to be a Democrat is one that I've been asking personally as someone who's voted in the party since, since I could vote, right? What does that mean for us? What does it mean to be a Democrat currently? And I'll try to be brief, but I think the biggest gut punch I felt, and it's happened a couple times, is, and I mentioned her name today, was Stacey Abrams. I believe that Stacey should be on the trajectory to be the president of this country. And I believe that it is, and I say this broadly, in terms of the national party and the local party, I think we are still afraid of Black people and Black futures. And in this case, a big Black gap tooth, nappy hair woman that did not neatly fit into the characterization of what this country believes it is or who can lead it. And when that happened, when Stacey wasn't, and I don't know all the, I'm not a politico, but I know what it felt like to see again the country choose in both our president and our vice president. And I appreciate their leadership, and it's difficult to be leading now, but I think we chose what was safe versus what we need. And I think we tend to do that here locally as well. And what's happening that I just want to say, I think might be indicative of what's happening for others, is what it does is starts to erode my confidence in the party, right? Because so many of us on this panel are working at the downstream impact of the history, this country's racist history. And we will spend our lives, and we have committed to spending our lives. But today, as recent as 2019, before the pandemic, my son had been through 3 different school districts in Washtenaw County and never saw a Black man in leadership. That's why I started Black Men Read, because I did read to him. I did. And I did the things that Kallista encouraged us to do. And schools still, until recently, did not feel like a place where he belonged when I would ask him that. And I think that one of our values at Black Men Read is cultivating genius. And when Desmond was talking about, and Rod was talking about art and creativity, it is in this country under white dominant norms that the worship of the written word, that we evaluate children, not on their whole selves, but on their ability to meet tests and test outcomes that are rooted in racist ideology. So my point is, how can we examine as a party, as a retention strategy, and as a to strive towards innovation locally, how can we continue to look at the ways in which our values uphold these systems that have continued to oppress folks? And the specific ask I have is, how does this party ensure that it can activate and organize around repairing the harms, structural harms that were done to people in this community? And for me, that's got to be a conversation about reparations level wealth return to the communities that have been historically divested in here. Thanks, Chris.
Yes, thank you. Excellent. Anybody else on this question? I just want to thank all of you so much. This has been just an incredible couple hours here, and Crystal for organizing it as well. We're in the game with you on all of this, and we are, we're learning every day, and we're trying to be better every day. And this is a part of that, is listening and engaging in conversations like this. So just thank you all so much for your passion and your talents and all you bring to the table. We're a better community because of folks like you.